in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Newsgaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today our topic is a bit different because it's not a current topic, rather it's a very relevant topic. The topic is joint family versus nuclear family. But before I will go to the topic, I would like to inform you that today in India, some parts of India, the Eid al-Fitr is being celebrated, especially Kerala and some parts of Karnataka, and the other parts will be celebrating tomorrow. Eid al-Fitr, also called the festival of breaking the fast or Eid, is a religious holiday celebrated by Muslims worldwide that marks the end of the month-long dawn to sunset fasting of Ramadan. The date for the start of any lunar Hijri month varies based on when the new moon is sighted by local religious authorities, so the day of celebration varies by locally. Eid al-Fitr was originated by the Islamic prophet Muhammad. According to certain traditions, these festivals were initiated in Medina after the migration of Muhammad from Mecca. Traditionally, Eid al-Fitr begins at sunset on the night of the first sighting of the crescent moon. As an obligatory act of charity, money is paid to the poor and the needy before performing the Eid prayer. Media conference with Lal Goyal wishes you all on this auspicious occasion, Eid Mubarak. Joint family versus nuclear family. Now I am coming to the main topic. Joint family. Joint family is also known as extended family. The term joint family defines a family that extends beyond the nuclear family. It consists of grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, all living in a same house. A joint family or undivided family is an extended family arrangements prevalent throughout the Indian subcontinent, particularly in India, consisting of many generations living in the same household, all bound by the common relationship. Hindu undivided family, HUF, is treated as a person under Section 231(2) of the Income Tax Act 1961. HUF is a separate entity for the purpose of assessment under the Act. Historically, for generations, India had a prevailing tradition for the joint Hindu family or undivided family. The system is an extended family arrangement prevalent throughout the Indian subcontinent, particularly in India, consisting of many generations living in the same home, all bound by the common relationship. A joint family consists of a husband and a wife, their sons, their daughters, and so on up to generations. The family is headed by a senior person called a Karta, is usually a male or a female who makes decisions on economic and social matters on behalf of the entire family. The patriarch's wife generally exerts control over the household and minor religious practices and often wields considerable influence in domestic matters. Family income flows into a common pool from which resources are drawn to meet the needs of all members, which are regulated by the heads of the family. However, with urbanization and economic development, India has witnessed a breakup of traditional joint family into more nuclear-like families, and the traditional joint family in India accounted for a small number of Indian households. A Hindu undivided family or HUF is a legal term related to the Hindu Marriage Act. The female members are also given the right of shares to the property in the HUF. The term finds reference in the provisions of Income Tax Act, but the expression is not defined in the Act. There are various aspects for Hindu law relevant for the purpose assessment of income of HUF with Hindu Succession Act 1956 and Income Tax Act 1961, and wealth in the status of HUF, as well as the impact of the provisions of Hindu Succession Act 1956 as amended by Hindu Succession Act Amendment Act 2005, relevant for the purpose of assessment of income and wealth in the status of HUF under the Income Tax Act 1961. In the case of Surjit Lal Chhabra, 101 ITR 776 SC, joint family and undivided family are synonymous. A joint Hindu family consists of persons lineally descended from a common ancestor and includes their wives and unmarried daughters. The daughter on marriage ceases to be a member of her father's family and becomes a member of her husband's family. In 2016, a judgment of Delhi High Court ruled that the eldest female member of a Hindu undivided family can be its karta, that is manager. Now, what are the advantages of HUF or joint family? The advantage of joint family is child is never lonely, because child will always get a company if the parents are working, of the grandparents or the uncles or aunts or the cousins. More happiness to child. Child learn the art of sharing, because once you are in joint family, the child learn how to share with others, which is not there in nuclear family. Child learn to respect, because here the so many uncle, aunts, grandparents are there. The child know how to respect them. Even the cousins are there, elder cousins. So child has to learn how to respect, and they learn. Child education beyond books, because otherwise child is not getting proper education except the bookish education, because parents are busy in their works. So in the nuclear family, the child is only getting whatsoever he or she is learning from the books. But here in the joint family, the grandparents, the grandmother especially, telling so many religious stories. Grandparent is also telling so many of his own experiences, uncle, auntie. So the child is getting education beyond books. Passing on tradition and heritage to child. In joint family, what is the tradition, culture, heritage of that family? It is known to even the child, because he watches all the ceremonies conducted by the grandparents, cousins, seniors, uncles, aunties, etc., which is not there in the nuclear family. Now, but what are the disadvantages of joint family? Privacy is compromised. It's very often we have seen that the husband and wife, they always complain that there is no privacy. Many times they want to do something for themselves which they can't do, because it's a joint family. A small decision runs by everyone. Even if some small decision has to be taken, like the child has to now send to school, which school, it has to be run in the entire family. Everyone gives their own suggestions. So here many of the young couple, they feel bad because they want their own decision. Financial responsibility of earning member, because what happens that in a joint family, many times it happens that one or two are earning more than the others. So, but everyone has to contribute whatsoever they're earning. So the one couple which is earning more has to contribute more, and so they are taking the financial responsibility of those who are earning less. Woes of a common kitchen for women. The main problem comes for the women, because she has to work round the clock in the kitchen, because of the so many members of the joint family, and they have to work. So the main problem comes with the women, which is otherwise not in nuclear family, because if they are two, they can jointly work. Otherwise, they can eat outside wherever they want to eat. So the workload is less for the women. Now, coming to the nuclear family. Nuclear family is also known as conjugal, elementary, or traditional family, a family consisting of only a couple, that is mother and father and their children. Nuclear family does not consist of grandparents, aunts, or uncles. A nuclear family, elementary family, or conjugal family is a family group consists of parents and their children. It is in contrast to a single parent family, the larger extended family, or a family with more than two parents. Nuclear families typically center on a married couple which may have any number of children. Some sociologists and anthropologists consider the nuclear family as the most basic form of social organization. Family structures of a mixing couple and their children were present in Western Europe and New England in the 17th century, influenced by church and theocratic governments. With the emergence of proto-industrialization and early capitalism, the nuclear family became a financially viable social unit. The term nuclear family first appeared in the early 20th century. The concept that narrowly defines a nuclear family as central to stability in modern society that has been promoted by families who are social conservatives in the United States and has been challenged as historically and sociologically inadequate to describe the complexity of actual family relations. Historians Alan McLaughlin and Peter Laslett postulate that nuclear families have been a primary arrangement in England since the 13th century. This primary arrangement was different from the normal arrangements in southern Europe, in parts of Asia and the Middle East, where it was common for young adults to remain in or marry into the family home. In England, multi-generational households were uncommon because young adults would save enough money to move out into their own household once they married. Sociologist Brigitte Berger argued the young nuclear family had to be flexible and mobile as it searched for opportunity and property. Forced to rely on their own ingenuity, its members also needed to plan for the future and develop habits of work and saving. Burge also mentions that this could be one of the reasons why the Industrial Revolution began in England and other Northwest European countries. As a fertility factor, single nuclear family households generally have a higher number of children than cooperative living arrangements, according to studies from both the Western world and India. Now, advantages of nuclear family. Development of personality of individual nuclear family plays an important role in the development of the personality of individual, because here one parent can give more time to the development of the child, whatsoever way they want to develop. So according to the reports, the development of a child is more likely than the joint family. More independence for women. The women of the house is having more independence, what to eat, what to cook, when to sleep, when they want to enjoy their me time, which is not there in the joint family. Better living environment for children, because the child will have their own separate room or separate bed. So they feel that there is a better living environment. Peace and harmony, no fight among mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, which is very common in India, that saas or bahu ki ladai, the mother-in-law and daughter-in-laws fight with each other. So there is peace and harmony when they are in the nuclear family. Individual responsibility. Here, the husband and wife both are having the responsibility, which otherwise is not there in the case of a joint family. Disadvantages, economic disadvantage, because like the situation today, when the COVID is there, their income, job cuts and income is less, there are lots of jobs have been lost. And if the person is staying in joint family, the joint family can take care of the that couple. But here, they have to face the hardship. Negligence towards children, and it is very clear that once you are in a nuclear family, you cannot give the attention to the child every time. So the chances of spoiling the child is too much. The tendency to get influenced by bad habits, because the child is not having, and not only the child, even the senior, the adult, because there is no one to look. So one can go for alcohol or other vices, which are very much common in the nuclear family. Loneliness. Many times it happens the nuclear family person feel loneliness because there is no one to talk. And especially in the COVID time, we have seen. Now, to discuss this very, very relevant topic, we have a very elite, knowledgeable, those who have the experience of their joint or nuclear families with us, the panelists. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is a senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King's George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for last 41 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows in domestic as well as internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajiv Anand, on our show. Today's topic, I am sure that you are the correct person or the authority because you are dealing with both the sides, all the families, whether it's a nuclear family or the joint family, all are approaching to a psychiatrist like you about their problems. So you know the ins and outs of the joint and nuclear family more than any one of us. So we would like to know your views on joint family versus nuclear family. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for the kind introduction, and welcome to today. First time we are having a panel speaker from Himachal Pradesh, Amla Rai. We are having first time someone from Hong Kong. That's Mr. Samitra Agrawal. We are having first time a young, budding, bright doctor, Niktab, and Miss Varsha Gussahani from Andheri. Welcome to all the panelists, I believe, who are appearing first time on this show. And welcome to the viewers across Kerala and Karnataka and UP and Bihar and global TV. That means many people who are settled abroad, and through YouTube Live and through the Facebook Live. Mr. Lal, you have eased the workload of all the panelists. You have given a quite elaborate points on nuclear and advantages, disadvantages of nuclear and joint family. In fact, when I was listening to you, I noted down in my mind a very important keyword called undivided. Undivided was the key word which was prevalent earlier, and then division came and division came and division came. It's very strange to listen. Today, everybody globally is suffering, talking morning to evening about pandemic virus. We have been ignorant about it. There have been many social viruses who have been existing in this society for the last few decades. And pandemic must have killed 1,000 people or maybe more, far more than that, lakhs of people in a matter of 6 months or 1 year. But these other social viruses have been spoiling life, or the fabric of life for the last many decades. And one of such social virus is the virus of being independent. That I want to be independent. I want to live with my wife and my child. I have nothing to do with my parents. I don't want to live with my brothers or sisters. I don't want to share meals with them. I don't want to respect them. From where have we got this notion? Unfortunately, tragically, sadly, we have appointed the Western world to be our leader, not only in electronics or gadgets or modern world or modern medicine. We have sadly appointed them as leader in our social life also. Well, fortunately, in a way of celebration, we, the Oriental part of the world, and this culture, Hinduism culture, or all of us can have a pride in saying so, that we were the leaders. We showed the culture. We showed the good value system. We showed the good family system. Even today, greater part of the world respect and celebrate Indian women, Indian family system, or Indian bonding between various people, or the relationship. However, degeneration must have taken place in our society, aping the westward, yet there is still reasonably left system of Dada Dadi's role, or Taya Tai, or Chacha Chachi, or neighbors. From the time when the society was a big society where everyone was part of that society primarily. Everyone cared for the other member of the society. Everyone contributed to the progress of the society and the happiness of the society. Not only from a very basic unit of a village, when everybody has functions divided and everybody took care that everybody's business was taken care of, to the housing colony, to the joint family, to the gated colony, to the city, when everybody had his own way of nourishing the society in general. Then this social virus came individuality. And from where it did come, more and more educated we kept on becoming, more and more higher education we got, more and more we begin falling apart from, I'm not bothered about society. I don't care for country. I don't care for my city. I don't care for my community. I don't care for my caste people. I don't belong to any caste. I don't belong to any joint family. And the trend is spreading like cancer, that even in a family, the recent separation or divorce of the two celebrated in the last week, we all heard about. But now, even after 27 years of marriage, husband and wife are falling apart. That I am on my own, you are on your own. And this is a very dangerous trend. If all individuals are falling apart, I often think of visualizing examples. If 100 wheels of a train, which take the train from Bombay to Delhi or Delhi to Calcutta, if each wheel decide that I'm on my own, why should I remain aligned with the other wheels in the train? What would happen to the train? It won't move within 100 meters. There would be derailment. There would be accident. There would be death. Nothing would happen into the economy. If all wheels decide, I don't want to be part of a train. I want to move on my own, at my own time. I have nothing to do with the other wheels. Then we can visualize what disaster may happen. Today, exactly the same thing is happening. Maybe we have a better houses, we have more comforts, we have better cars, we have more income, we have more comforts in the house, we have more gadgets in the house. Maybe we have more reserves, maybe we might have traveled across the boundaries to various countries. But is that all? Why we have so many sicknesses, why we have so many cardiac ailments, why we have so many increasing deaths at rather young age, why we have so much of depression, why we need so much of tranquilizers, why we need so many of sleeping medicine, why our children are not respecting us. Are they seeing us respecting our grandparents or their grandparents? When we don't respect our parents, how will our children respect in due course of time? When they don't see us celebrating my brothers or sisters or having dinner with them or giving them due respect or recognition, how would they learn from to give the same to their elders? What are we teaching our younger ones? We are teaching that me and me alone, मैं और मेरी तन्हाई, मैं और मेरी कमाई, मैं और मेरी खुशी, that's all. Today, over last rather 15 months, I mean, I can't fail taking recognition of Mr. Lal's untiring effort for last 15 months. Every day, some socially relevant topic on this webinar, on this media conference. Last 15 months, everybody is suffering. Everybody is now forced to remain in his own nest, confined to own nest, except people who have a joint family. And they still have somebody to talk to, somebody to take care of, somebody to connect to. Mr. Lal did say about various aspects of negativities or disadvantages of being in the joint family. But for the matter, which aspect of life doesn't have a cause? In many areas, including the one medical or pharmacology, there's always a cost-benefit ratio. There's always something called benefit and risk. Every medicine has got side effects. But then the beneficial effect is taken into account. And if this is far more, then the slight side effect is ignored. What are the benefits? The benefits of joint family are far more than the disadvantage. I know many families who are living joint family system very happily. Two cases I would cite over here: a Marwadi family with 4 brothers, all educated, all CAs or in businessmen or doctors, and everybody earns from the time of from the teenage. Everybody had been encouraged to pursue higher education. Everybody earns and put the money in one place, and all the elders in the house take care of the younger ones. All of them, they have separate flats. All of them, their children have been married off very well. All of them have no financial insecurity, and one family is running beautifully, even though they are living in their own houses. I also know, very interesting, that 4 or 5 brothers of a Gujarati family and one brother, right from beginning, has not joined the job. He takes care of the elderly. And his need and his family needs are taken care of by 4 other brothers. and he take care of everybody's other needs and as well as parent needs. What's wrong? If all of the brothers are busy in their business or whatever they are pursuing. So there are far more benefits of joint family. Society was created not for living in isolation. Society didn't want us to live in depression or in estrangement or in alienation or becoming emotionally deprived or becoming emotionally disconnected. Today, if any one of us call anyone else, the unasked question on the other end is, हाँ बताओ क्या काम है? We can't call up without reason. I feel like, and I do talk to some people whom I care for, whom I feel they are in my close circle. I will get a point to call them once in a while. और no काम, मुझे कोई काम नहीं है. Just मुझे 5 मिनट आपसे बात करनी है. उस 5 मिनट की बात करने में कहीं तो दिल से दिल जुड़ता है ना. सामने वाला इंसान के साथ हम हमेशा काम की ही बात करेंगे. काम के अलावा कोई बात ही नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है, I agree. Many of you would say the WhatsApp has brought us closer. WhatsApp has dissolved the boundaries across countries, across sea, but that is merely symbolic. Merely symbolic. We keep on throwing messages at each other without really bothering for each other's emotional health, without really caring. I may not know my next door neighbor, whether this is a true story that my neighbor had entire family had COVID positive, had been COVID positive. We didn't come to know. For weeks together, they didn't tell us, nor did we. They would never come to the door. They went away to Pune. We came to know months later that they had COVID positive. And I realized the disadvantage of being nuclear. I have a granddaughter. I talk less theory, I talk more practical. I have a granddaughter, 2 years, 15 months, 2 years, 3 months old. She's at least seeing who is Dada. She's getting some extra love, some extra attention, some extra affection. She's getting some extra gift. She's getting some extra patronage. What about the nuclear family? They would face 24/7 only father, mother, and all nuclear family parents are under tremendous pressure. They might have willy-nilly thrown the parents out of their own family. They might have thought that they were wiser to live alone, to eat alone, to have the comfort, to have the privacy, to have the greater space. They realized it silently. Had the mother or father been around, there were greater advantages. But then nobody is ready to listen. Nobody is ready to introspect. Nobody is ready to open up. Nobody is ready to listen to the counter perspective. I celebrate media conference by Mr. Lal from this point of view. If last almost 15 months, there have been discussion after discussion after discussion on topic after topic after topic. This is opening a new vista. We are opening up on different topics about which we might not have what Mr. Lal has reported and Mr. Paul has reported, 20-25 lakh viewers of this program. At least some good thoughts as seed are going to their mind, even this program. We are ready to make friends with our neighbors. We are ready to make friends with our community on short-term basis, on ad hoc basis, but we are not ready to build a relationship with our nearest and dear ones. Please let us review. Last 1 minute for me. Let us review our relatives matter. When some death is there, whom we inform first, then we remember our relative should come and attend the funeral. When once in a while we have some celebration, we call them, आप हमारे घर आइएगा पार्टी है. Is that all? दुख में और सुख में ही, बाकी round the year, no connection, no communication, no connectivity. Let's review. Our relatives matters a lot. We matter a lot for them. This what is life. This what is shared life. This what is the joy of life. It's never too late. Howsoever best must have misguided us or misled us, it's never too late. We can even now begin to connect with our near and dear ones in our family circle. And that would be the biggest contribution of this media conference of Mr. Lal. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Please take care of a lighter mode because I want to. He mentioned about 2 celebrities separated recently. after 27 years of age. I will give the name Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. But there is a WhatsApp joke. This says Mr. Gates used to go for 26 years to the office. Only 1 year he has to work from home. That's why the anyway. But what Dr. Rajiv Anand says, he is for joint family, and he has given all the advantages. And he says that child upbringing, it depends on in the joint family. The happiness depends on the joint family. If anything goes wrong, the person has to look toward the family, and that's why the joint family is very, very important. He has already explained, and today we have all the panelists. We have to hear from them. So I will not going to summarize more. I will just move to my next panelist guest. Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Anand. I'm sure you are okay now. Please take care. And because nowadays anybody coughs, people have very fear. But anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. I'm sure you are being a doctor, there's no problem. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Miss Amla Rai. Miss Rai is the theater practitioner, theater educator, theater curriculum designer, theater teachers trainer. Miss Rai is a NSD graduate. Welcome, Miss Amla Rai, on our show. Miss Rai, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned, and Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned very, very categorically that the joint family is the only thing which we have forgotten as the time passes, but that is what is the ultimate thing, and we must go back. We revisit, and we must go back to the joint family concept, not this nuclear family concept. That is the views of Dr. Rajiv Anand. Now we would like to know your views, joint family versus nuclear family. Miss Amla Rai, please.
It's an honor to be here on this platform and to be able to share my views. Thank you, everyone. So I have a problem with the very title, which is joint family versus nuclear family. Why it has to be versus? Looks like a court case versus Amla Rai types. So I think it can be joint family and nuclear families. As you opened with your speech that, both have their advantages and disadvantages. So I think that there can be a balance. I think everyone keeps saying that the whole concept of nuclear family comes from West, maybe, or is, but I also feel that there is a practical aspect to it, which is if we are living in joint family, there is a limited space. As the children get married and they have children, so it is a space issue also. Then how do you crumble in that one house? So because I have lived I was, as a child, I was brought up in a joint family in Bareilly, where my Tauji and Dada, Dadi, everyone, Bua and all, they were there. But I also see now I'm in village. It's a joint family system here in village, but people are moving out because of the lack of space. So when we say joint, is it joint? Does it mean joint that physically living together, or is it joint by heart? It is by heart. So if we are physically living together under one roof and in heart we are separated, I think the objective is lost. So even if we are living away from our parents and we are joint by heart, I think that's a joint family and everyone comes together. So this is what I feel, because at one point, Dr. Anand knows my father, my mother, my father-in-law, my mother, 4 of them were living with us in Mumbai. And I miss them. None of them are here now in this world. I miss them because there was a lot of protection. There was a lot of security. I would go with Dr. Anand's thing that views that joint family is the answer for today's problems, is the solution. And having 4, I felt so protected. And there was discipline because, they had their own time of eating, sleeping, everything. So we had to do accordingly. And there was much more calmness because me and my husband or me and my son, we couldn't do much of arguments because elders were there. So, Dr. Anand ne kaha that there is respect. But what also happens with joint family, that an individual's individuality has a negative connotation, but my being as Amla Rai, my being, what I have, what difference I can make to the world, I think that gets compromised because then I have to go with the tradition of my family. If I don't go, then I'm a black sheep in the family. So then there is a lot of turmoil in the individual. And the individual wants to break apart because the individual may be wanting to fly high, maybe wanting to fulfill dreams. So I think here the elders or the grandparents and everyone, I think it comes down to understanding and compassion and giving space. If we can balance that out, I think nuclear families can survive in joint families and joint families can survive with nuclear families. We have to strike a balance because as newlyweds, if you've seen movie Pia Ka Ghar, Jai Bhaduri, I mean, they had to literally go out and book a hotel room and वहाँ raid पड़ जाती है. And they are caught and they're feeling so guilty. So this is also a practical reality that newly husband and wife need their own intimacy, space and time and environment. If they don't have, then there is an inner frustration. And because we have moved from joint family to nuclear family, Dr. Anand, your profession is blooming because in joint family, we don't need counselors, we don't need psychiatrists. Our dada, nana, nani, mama, mami, maar peet ke counseling karke sab theek kar de. So, there was nothing hidden in the family. So I think this whole profession of psychiatry and counseling has flourished in last 3 to 4 decades because joint family has scrambled and isliye we have to pay money that somebody listen to us. Earlier we had people. I think I have not offended you, Dr. Anand.
No, you have not offended me. That's the harsh reality. We have to accept it.
So I feel it shouldn't be versus. I think it should be joint family and nuclear family, and we can make a balance. And so we don't have to be disjointed. We can all be joined together and yet have our own space, and also to understand that space is a physical reality. We cannot create space with the walls, but we can create space in the heart. So, and also one good thing with the nuclear family that grandparents have become smart. They take care of themselves because they know कि हमको अपनी care खुद ही करनी है. So there are less expectations from children now and grandchildren now. The parents are not taking children for granted. So I think this whole thing has a positive thing that parents have become smart. They thrive on their own. They live on their own. And now, guess what? Even grandparents say that we need our space. हमने सारी जिंदगी पहले सास ससुर का करते रहे, फिर जिठानी देवरानी और इनका सब करते रहे, फिर बच्चों का करते रहे, फिर बच्चों के बहुओं का करते रहे. अब आगे प्लीज गेट अवे, वी नीड आवर स्पेस. हमें बुढ़ा बुढ़िया को अकेले छोड़ दो, मैं अपने तरीके से जीना है. So there is another side to it. Even their own space, बिचारे जिंदगी भर खटते ही रहे. So I don't think so we can have a very black and white thing that joint family is good or nuclear family is good. I think if hearts are good, there is space in the heart, everything is good. That's what my feel is, and we have to be joined with the hearts and not physically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rai, for giving very, very balanced views about joint family versus, or rather, she says, and nuclear family. And she says it's not the question that the people are moving because of the space constraints and other things. And it doesn't mean that they are leaving the family behind. Their hearts are with the joint family only, but because of the constraints, because if somebody is staying in a small city and if the child goes or the adult goes to the other city, it doesn't mean that they have left the joint family. They are still in the joint family, but they are living apart. She has given advantages as well as disadvantages of both the families, joint as well as the nuclear family. So I will term that she is for both 50-50, 50% for the joint family, because she has mentioned a very good thing. And she says that the oldies also wants the space, and they says, now please go away. We want to be in nuclear family. Buddha Budia, she used the word, the oldies, both husband and wife wants to enjoy their own life, their me time. So they says our me time is now at the old age. So they wants to live separately, apart from the joint family. So what she says is both are good, both have advantages, both have disadvantages. Only thing is your heart should be with each other. If you are by heart, you are respecting, you have love for each other, then whether you stay in a nuclear family or joint family, it makes hardly any difference. Thank you very much, Ms. Amla Rai, for giving a very, very balanced view.
Mr. Lal,
Yeah.
please request, let's drop this word Buddha Budia. We are young people, young at heart.
Yes, doctor. I'm sure you are quite young. This word she might have used for me only. Thank you very much. Now, my next guest.
Myself as well, I've joined the senior citizen club, so it's me.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, coming to the next guest, and now the score is one panelist has given the joint family, the other panelist has given 50-50. So we have 1.5 and 0.5 marks, the points in the tally for joint family and nuclear family. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Varsha Gulsani. Miss Varsha is the member of Public Relations Committee of Indian Ladies Association, Bahrain. She is a commerce graduate from Jai Hind College, Mumbai. She has also done a course in computers. She worked in a bank for 8 years before moving to Bahrain. Welcome, Ms. Varsha Gulsani, on our show. Ms. Varsha, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand as well as what Ms. Amla Rai has spoken, and both have given their views. Now, we would like to know from you, joint family versus or and nuclear family. Ms. Varsha Gulsani, please.
As you have already introduced me, I have been born and brought up in Bombay. And as was the norm in the late 60s, I have also been born and brought up in a joint family. But as time went by, and as one pursues education, further studies for better prospects, after marriage, I shifted to Bahrain to be in a nuclear setup, which was me and my husband. So here I can objectively be born and brought up in a joint family and then spending more than a decade in Bahrain, compare objectively the pluses and minuses of both. But I don't want to get into it since you all discussed it so very well. You brought it out well and Dr. Anand brought it out well. Now, I am of the opinion that both have its pluses and minuses. Ideally, one can see both and try to be on a middle ground and take the advantages of it. As a person born and brought up in Bombay, would be more in favor of nuclear setup. When I say nuclear setup, it doesn't mean me, my family. I would say in-laws can stay somewhere close by. So in that respect, they are always there for you. You are always there for them. You are there in the good and bad times. We can connect with them at 2 o'clock in the night also, since my own in-laws stay in the next building. So it's just that you are there for them, which is a very good feeling for them and a very good feeling for us also. So one cannot actually say this is black and that is white, as Dr. Ma'am Amla just pointed out. Both have its pluses, both have its minuses. But yeah, joint family would have its certain constraints, especially in a city like Bombay because of space. Secondly, you are so much bound by social pressures that you don't have time for your self-growth. And today's generation, they are well educated, working, studying. They don't like being told what is to be done and what is not to be done. One always likes to learn from their mistakes. So in that aspect, I would say One should respect their elders. Communication channels should always be open, so any issue is discussed across the table without any friction or hard feelings. And you can take a balanced view from both the parties rather than putting anybody down over here. So I would say that's one has to work on the middle ground, and what is good in one situation for one set of unit adults or individual may not be good for another. One has to see minuses of nuclear system also, where children do tend to get neglected. A maid or a nanny cannot bring up a healthy individual. Only parents, with the support of one set of parents, maternal or paternal, can help you to bring up a healthy and a normal child. So I would say that one has to be connected. Love is important, respect is important, and create a better world. For grandchildren, it is always nice that interaction should be there with grandparents to learn about their lives, to learn from their decisions, their mistakes. So I would be of the opinion one can stay in a nuclear setup and have the pluses of both the setups. So this would be my view on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Varsha Goswami. And Ms. Varsha has given the vote, her view towards the nuclear family, but she has made a very important point. She says that nuclear, even if you are in a nuclear family, you can be joined by heart, because you are giving respect to your all elders. They might be staying, and especially when she said that she was brought up in Mumbai, where everybody knows the space is a problem. And she says their in-laws, her in-laws or her parents, they were not staying far. So they can be called, or whenever there is anything, they can go there or they can come to their place. So basically, she says that nuclear family, one advantage which she has mentioned is that the young generation, they never wants that anyone will say you have to do this, or you do not want to, you should not do this. So basically, this is the advantage, that the growth is more in nuclear family with a close-up of a joint family. But definitely her inclination is towards nuclear family. So I will put her marks towards the nuclear family. So now the 1.5 and 1.5 each. Thank you very much, Ms. Varsha Goswami. So
Thank you so much for having me on the panel.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to go to our next panelist, and he is Mr. Soumitra Agrawal. Mr. Agrawal is the Managing Director of SP Growth Partners, Hong Kong. He did Masters in Management Studies Finance, Diploma in Business Finance, Diploma in System Management, and Bachelor's in Commerce. Mr. Agrawal is a global businessman with business spread in over 14 countries. He is based in Hong Kong, but has very deep-rooted ties with India, and especially nowadays, he is stationed forcedly in India because of the COVID. No flight is going on. So right now, he's in India only. As much as he believes in modern day technologies for improvement of life, but at the same time, he's also a staunch supporter of Indian culture. Welcome, Mr. Soumitra Agrawal on our show. Mr. Agrawal, you have heard Dr. Rajiv Anand, Ms. Amla Rai, and as well as Ms. Varsha Goswami. Everyone has given their views. Now, definitely, we would like to know your views. Joint family versus nuclear family. Mr. Soumitra Agrawal, please.
Good morning, Mr. Lal. Good morning, the entire panelists. My greetings to everyone on the auspicious festival of Eid, to all the viewers and to the panelists. I think it's the subject of whether we live in a culture of nuclear family or joint family. I think it's a debate which has probably grown post-independence era, and it continues to grow on. And I don't think so. Probably, if we are all alive for the next 50 years, we may be having one more discussion on this, even after 50 years from today. Well, I'm not here to debate which is right, which is wrong, because this over a period of time, form culture goes on to a very individualistic approach. Very difficult to convince a mass gathering on one particular angle on the subject matter. I will only like to put forward two viewpoints, and these are not a debatable viewpoint. These are more a viewpoint which are partially driven by fact and how we are going into this, or how the world is transforming us. The first viewpoint, which we never can ignore, the rapid transformation of globalization, urbanization, and telecommunication in the last 2 decades has never been seen in this whole universe for the last 20,000 years. So we are on a cycle which is so fast booming. Nobody imagined that 10 years back we would, or 20 years back we would have started with pager, moved to mobile, moved to smartphones. Now we are talking of digital technology where SIM cards may be inserted into a human body, and you will be talking without an electronic instrument in your hand. So we are talking about a very rapid, fast transformation of communication lines. And definitely this hits or this impacts every human being in the world, individualistically, as a family, as a unit, as a society. And we also cannot ignore the fact that we are living in a global world. Even if you look at India and you look at the transformation of the whole economy in the last 40 years, we are 60% globally dependent. Either we give something to the globe or we take something from the globe. Okay. So we are a very rapid part of globalization. Let's put example of all of us. I'm sure, and all of us have definitely crossed a certain age limit where even if within us, all of us, and I think we all are born pre-1970 types, we all would like to go back to the roots where we are living in a joint family, where everybody is living in one roof, everybody is eating, drinking their tea together at the same time in the morning, having lunch together, having dinners together. We would all love to do that, no doubt about it. We all love to do that because we are now growing in a more urban environment. But the fact of the matter is, even if we like that, we will not be able to do it. I'm sure Dr. Anand will love to go back to Agra or go back to his hometown and spend a good amount of time talking to his friends and to a bigger family. And so be it. I think Ms. Amla coming from Bareilly, she would like to go back to Bareilly. I come from Agra as my hometown. I would like to go back there. But from Agra, we shifted to Bombay. And from Bombay, I am now based in Hong Kong. We cannot go back on a reverse gear. It's just not practically possible to go for a reverse gear. So what do we now discuss about? Probably we discuss about what are we leaving or likely to leave as a legacy for our children. At our age group, we can't change things. We can't go back to a reverse gear. But our children who are probably in a teenager age, they have a longer life to live. So we need to think probably what sort of legacy are we likely to leave for them in terms of closeness to their families, closeness to their friends, closeness to their parents. Because ultimately, irrespective it's a joint family or a nuclear family, it's all about being happy and being close to your family members. Doesn't matter. I've seen tons of families living together, but frankly cursing each other. And I've seen tons of families who are distantly living in US, living in Australia, living in India, but they are so closely bound to each other, that that they know more about others or more about their family members than they know about themselves. So it's a matter of no debate, I think. It's a matter of accepting the reality of how the modern world or how the world is transforming, and more so because of the advent of technology. And so it at our age group or at our generation, I believe it's very necessary for each one of us to set our own precedences and to set our own legacy, what we actually leave for our children. Today, I'm sure most of the families in India, for example, most of the parents which I see and which are faced with serious peer group competition, actually want their children to progress on everybody wants their children to progress. Everybody wants, or a major part of the parents want their children to be educated overseas. And when you allow your children or when you encourage your children to participate, to go overseas, then frankly, you are leaving a big part of their life into their hands, correct? Now, what they will decide or how they will decide. I have a number of friends globally. I've traveled more than 70 countries globally. Fortunately, I have never seen a single country where I don't meet an Indian family. That's the power of Indianization, I think. We find every Indians in every part of the world. And I see that even living overseas, people are definitely rooted through their country, rooted to their family. And they are much more closer to each other rather than probably if they would have been living with each other in the same roof. So the fact which I feel is we need to determine what legacy we leave for our children in terms of how they would like to get associated They would like to get entrailed with their family, with their parents, with their brothers, with their sisters, with their uncles, with their aunts, with their grandparents, because we cannot reverse a lot of things. We just cannot reverse people living in smaller places, urbanization, reducing the land space to live, globalization, making people to travel for education, for business, for various other things. We cannot reverse that. We can probably use communication as or the advent of communication as a tool to be very close to each other. But the most important part is to now think, how do we leave a legacy for our children? So I would love to leave this thought to the panelists. So I'm sorry, doctor, you may not be, sorry, Mr. Lal, you will not be able to give a 0.5 or a 1 score to your index. But I thank you all for seriously inviting me and allowing me to present my views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agarwal, for giving a view which is neither this side or that side. So I have to put 0 for both the side. But what Mr. Agarwal has mentioned, it is a very, very important point, is that when we are allowing, as a joint family, allowing our children to go abroad or in a metro city from a small city, then we are mentally, we should understand that we have given them the free hand, that their life is in their hand. Because once a child has gone to USA or even to Mumbai from a small place like Mathura or Agra, but from where he belongs, and Dr. Rajiv Anand belongs to Mathura of my hometown. So when you have moved out, then definitely the working space, the working environment, which is available in metros or abroad, you will not get in the small cities. So what Mr. Agarwal says, that it doesn't mean whether you have asked your child to go abroad or for studies or work, that they are not close to you. And he has given the example that the children are staying abroad and they are more knowledgeable about the family than anyone else. They have the updated, because today the fact is everybody is on the Zoom call or the video call or WhatsApp call and talking to each other every day, which at our time we were not doing. Even staying in the same house to talk to our father, we have to think twice, thrice, whether his mood is okay or not, we should talk to him or not. But nowadays, the children who are staying abroad, they fix up a time and they always give a call at that time, whether you are in good mood or bad mood, they are not aware, but they will be talking. So according to him, it's not a debate question, it's it's a perception, your thinking, what type of legacy you want to leave for your child, that you have to decide. Thank you very much, Mr. Agarwal, for giving a new dimension of this discussion. I'm sure our viewers are getting very, very different dimensions today, and they will be enlightening with these types of thoughts. And that's why this media conference is. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Dr. Nikita Pawar. Dr. Nikita Pawar is family physician and online consultant at Mumbai. She did MBBS and post-graduation in clinical research and pharmacovigilance. It's a new word for me. I will ask her just to explain before she will give the reply for come to the main topic. What is this pharmacovigilance? She is also an avid writer for medical magazines and creative artist. She has previously worked in GMC Hospital, Dubai, and is currently attached to a hospital, corporate company and clinics in Mumbai. She is passionate about medical articles, writing, and always strives to maintain commitment towards achieving professional growth as she transitions from one phase of her career to the next. She also worked as assistant medical advisor for Wockhardt Pharma. She liked doing social work and also to serve needy and underprivileged kids. She has already sponsored one underprivileged girl from village. Welcome, Dr. Nikita Pawar on our show. Dr. Nikita Pawar, you have heard from our earlier panelists, Dr. Rajiv Anand, Ms. Samla Rai, Mr. Varsha Goswami, as well as Mr. Soumitra Agrawal, their views. Now, we would like to know, and I would like to correct Mr. Agrawal about that we all are before 70. Dr. Nikita Pawar is not of that age group. She might be a millennial child. Anyway, Dr. Nikita. Sorry?
I am 74.
Okay. Anyway, so now we would like to know But first, you just mention, just tell us, because right now we know the microbiologist and so many terms are coming every day because of the COVID. But pharmacovigilance, what is it means? And then you please go ahead.
Pharmacovigilance is basically related to the pharmaceutical companies, and basically we just know about the new drugs in the market. So we usually, we try to research in that. So it's like clinical research with pharmacovigilance. So whatever
Okay.
drugs are in the market, so we try to analyze upon them.
Okay, very good. Yes, please go ahead.
So good morning, namaste to all my senior fellow panelists. I would like to say that it's not a debatable issue like, nuclear versus joint family. But as per me, family is a very pivotal role, which is important and from the childhood days. And home is where the heart is. So basically, when we talk about joint family, now joint family concept, when we talk about the bygone era, there was a joint family concept. And there used to be like a lot of cousins and uncles, your grandparents who used to take care. So now what happens in this case, that time the culture, upbringing and the values used to go towards from one generation to other, and people used to take it very nicely also, and they used to have they used to feel good about it. But now as we talk about now our generation, this generation, sometimes now with the education, the youngsters don't feel good about it when their grandparents or parents, when they speak about upbringing, culture. And I think education is also very pivotal role now, uh, because what happens is that in the joint family, kids are and grandparents, they are always taking care, so there is less of now child kidnapping or any kind of human trafficking, because always there's someone to look out at home. In case of nuclear family, what happens is that we are lonely, the parents are working, and there is you have to keep the children all on the maids and servants or responsibilities. So we are always having some kind of difficulty thinking what's going back at home. And then what is happening in the bygone era, which we talk about, that time there was not much of expenditures, so that the expenditures used to get divided between the family members, so it used to be easier. But now when we see in the joint families today in this era, even if if it's an affluent joint family, then it's not a difficulty if someone loses a service also or loses a job. But if it's a poor family, then it's very difficult for them to manage the resources in a joint family. Nuclear families, if it is, it's much more easier in nuclear family, because nuclear families have at least funds and education. I told you education is very important, which nowadays that people are earning. So in nuclear families, the finances can be, can be held up. And then we say also that very important is that joint family, there is nothing like loneliness and depression. In nuclear family, usually what happens is that there might be loneliness and depression because we don't have people to talk out, and cousins and everyone is there around. There is like functions, organizations, and a lot of intermingling between each other. So when I say about joint family and nuclear family, in joint families, I have seen that nowadays in this urbanization world, people are opting more towards nuclear family, because even in joint family, when the grandparents are not educated, and when a educated boy gets a girl with educated girl in the house, that time what happens, it creates a lot of issue, because the grandparents try to put the values, culture, upbringing on the children, and then they are they get irritated or something, they don't feel like staying in the family anymore, and then they opt out to go into nuclear family. So what happens in this case, that the many of the it depends on the grandparents as well. If grandparents are very very loving towards the daughter-in-laws and the children, then it's very good also, because if the parents are working, the grandparents take care of the children. And if the grandparents themselves, sometimes they say that for higher education you can go abroad, so grandparents also opt for this also, that they can live alone, they can take care of themselves, and they can be provided by servants. And in fact, nowadays in the modern urbanization, we are seeing that more of the people are going towards nuclear family, because they want peacefulness, they want their own time, they want their own time to think, they don't want anyone's interference. So that's also very crucial, because space is very important, I feel. And in joint family, it is like, I feel it's fun also. I won't say the joint family has a, as a disadvantage, but it's advantages of both being into a joint family as well as nuclear family. But then in a joint family, when we see that time, what happens is that when any crisis is there, all the family members are together. So what happens, like suppose we need some kind of advice from any kind of member, so there are a lot of people around us to give a proper advice. And in nuclear family, we take our own decisions. Maybe it may be sometimes wrong or it may be correct also. So another thing is that if it is it depends on different kind of categories, like it is upper class, middle class, lower class of joint families. Now when we talk about lower class or joint families, when they live in one room or two rooms, there is more chances of getting infected, because there may be less sanitization, there may be poor ventilation in the house, and if the person is diseased, it may cause the other person also to get infections. Now in this COVID crisis, if you see, like, in the poor people, I have seen maximum on the news channels also that joint families who used to stay in chawl or jhopapattis, they are getting very affected, many times affected, because they don't even have the isolation rooms also to get isolated or quarantined. So this affects more in a joint family. And in nuclear family, what happens is that there is at least, there's not much of disease transmission, and they have their own rooms in this. And another aspect is that in joint families, that there is always there's always, sometimes there might be ego clashes, there might be interferences by the grandparents, which nowadays modern urbanization and modern era people, they don't like it, and that may cause turmoil, and they may cause fights between the in-laws, like daughter-in-law and saas ka jhagda might start. And in this, what happens that the atmosphere of the house becomes very bad. And then in this because of this, the even the impact it falls on the kids, because when it falls on the kids, the upbringing of the children also happens that way, where they see there is no respect, there is no culture, there is no upbringing. So it depends upon the natures of every individual, exact, I feel, because if the nature's individual has the capacity to understand the person and understand the person's feelings, and has that love, care, and respect, I think that can be like, shared between the all. But everyone is very different. Every individual is very different. So we cannot, like, make the person like, like ourselves. So they should understand this, that we require our own space and freedom. And I feel that nuclear family is of course comparatively nowadays, because I am myself into a nuclear family. So I have always lived, and I'm the only child of my parents. So I always lived alone. So I have always been pampered, and have been like very possessive. Sometimes I do feel that, okay, I should have had cousins, and I should have relatives around, so that I can go and talk to them and all. But then, again, it's like, when I talk to them and know from my friends their viewpoints, like, okay, what do you feel about nuclear family or joint family? So everybody says the nuclear family is much better. This is what is there. And when I have got 2-3 friends of mine who are married into from nuclear family to joint family, the adjustment level becomes very difficult. So I feel the person from nuclear family should get married in nuclear family, and the joint family person should get married in joint family only, because that adjustment and the compromises are easily known. And I think and another thing is that when in the nuclear family, there has to be, like, there's a lot of plenty of space, and we have, like, if we can have our own choices, we can even go out with our friends, we can make our social, we can be socially active also. And we can also plan going abroad, because there is no one to, like, fix, or nobody to come and just, manipulate our thoughts, like, we don't want to. So I feel that mostly that nuclear family is, of course, much better. And it depends on I told you, it depends on the elders also, because elders also sometimes have a very different opinion and different culture and upbringing. So it's like, it just throbbing their own viewpoints on us, it becomes very difficult. So it's like, it's our own mindset. And I think at age like this, nobody wants to be like, everybody wants to be in freedom, and they want to have their own space and want to live in liberty. So it all depends exactly on what kind of preferences you want, and which side of the fence you want to ride on. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nikita Pawar. So Dr. Pawar, who represents the young generation, is very, very clearly mentioned that the nuclear family is having upper hand than the joint family. And the views which are expressed by all of them, I will just add, because now everybody has spoken about their own things. I will tell, for 31 years, I was in a joint family at Mathura. I enjoyed all the benefits of that. Then next 25 years, I stayed in Mumbai. And there also, it was like a joint family, because although we are staying in different places, all the three brothers at that time, because we are four brothers, one has to look after at Mathura. The three brothers is staying, but we are meeting each other almost twice a week. And all the children, our cousins, are meeting each other. The fourth brother's child was also with us in Mumbai. And now, for last 11 years, as Ms. Rai has mentioned, the Buddha Budia, we want our me time, so we are at Mangalore. We are not we said, no, it's enough is enough. We want our own time. So the advantages and disadvantages, as all have mentioned, are very clear. But right now, the scale is tilted towards the nuclear family, because the young generation want the nuclear family. Now I would like to go for the question answer session. And my first question goes to Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, you being a senior psychiatrist as well as a marriage counselor, I would like to know, you are getting the your clients or your patients, not the patients, the clients, from both joint family as well as nuclear family, with their problems, traumas, etc. Who you are getting, from where the more and more complicated one? Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Mr. Lal, thank you. Today's session has been very informative and enlightening. I did research on life of each one of the panelists today, how they have lived their life in the last 10, 15 years. Soumitra has been attached to his family, to mother and father. Varsha have had plus and minus experiences with her in-laws. Amla is so much devoted to her parents as well as in-laws. And Nikita is learning so much from her great celebrated parents, both mother, father. And one of them have been on this panel a few weeks back, another one on the way. So it has been very, very enlightening session. And so Nikita in her 20s and two of us in 60s. I mean, Amla, I'm not referring to you. You are still in your 20s. I'm referring to two of us in 60s. So we have a different view on this topic from different perspective wherever we are perched up. At the end of my session, I would like to contribute whether circumstances force us to live in separate flat or separate colony of the city, as Mr. Lal had, or different countries. We have a need to connect. We have a need to care for some people, and we have a need to be cared by some people. Let's not forget this fact. As Soumitra has said, he knows people who are living in different countries, yet they are bonded very well. I would suggest that, as Amla has summarized, psychiatrists and counselors can be thrown out of business, and I would love to let it happen. Doesn't matter, even if I am in the late age, my other colleagues may abuse me. But why we should have so many problems when we have near and dear ones to soothe us, to help us, to guide us in time of distress? Why we have to suppress that distress for years and then undergo nervous breakdown or depression and then seek the professional help? So my summary, connect as best as you can with as many as people as you can, and show respect to everyone who is in your circle, and let it be seen by everyone around, including your children, that you care and you show respect to your near and dear ones. Let you be a role model for everyone around. That's my conclusion. Thank you, Mr. Lal. Over to you.
So, thank you, Dr. Anand. Now my question goes to Ms. Amla Rai. Ms. Amla Rai, it's a very common fact in India. Daurani, Jathani, Saas, Bahu, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, so they always fight. And it's, although people say that no, it's just a love fight, but nowadays it has become, because as per the legal reports, the maximum cases in India are the property cases, and out of which the maximum cases in because of in the Hindus families where the HUF system is there, and in that when we have such type of fights, it means the joint family is not that successful. What you say about this? Because when you are fighting, you say there is no mental tension because you have somebody you can vent out your problems. But it is seen that many depressed, many people, the daughter-in-law of the house works so much mentally, physically, that sometimes she breaks. What you say about that, Ms. Rai? Please unmute. Please unmute.
I think we should stop watching soap operas because this is the picture created by soap operas, Saas Bahu and Jhagde itne sare. I think I fought more with my mother than with my mother-in-law. I mean, fight is something that is very, it's a human tendency. It is natural. It is normal. Why do we make it so abnormal? We fight and then we concile also, not so. There is a balance. But the problem starts that if my mother says me anything, I'll do blah 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 blah. और उसके बाद में माँ आएगी बोलेगी बेटा खाना खा ले and हो जाएगा ठीक. But मैं अपनी सास के साथ उस तरह से blah 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 नहीं कर सकती. And if I do, my सास will not come कि आ बेटा खाना खा ले. So I think that sensitivity of relationship is there. जैसे मैं अपनी बहन से लड़ लूंगी, मैं अपनी नंद से नहीं लड़ पाऊंगी. लेकिन अगर मैं अपनी सास से भी वैसे ही लड़ पाऊं, नंद से भी वैसे ही लड़ पाऊं, देवर से भी वैसे ही लड़ पाऊं, और वो बोले भाभी आके खाना खा लो, I think वो सब न्यूट्रलाइज हो जाता है. I have been very lucky that मैं सास के साथ में मुझे लड़ने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी because I could reason out things with her.
Okay.
I could reason it out with her and I told my husband कि मेरे और मेरे सास के बीच में आना मत. You know, मैं निपट लूंगी.
Okay.
And I am not coming to you कि तुम्हारी मम्मी ने ऐसा बोला, तुम्हारी मम्मी ने ऐसा बोला, because वो माँ है उसकी. मुझे पसंद नहीं है कि मेरी माँ के बारे में मेरा हस्बैंड आके कुछ मुझे बोले तुम्हारी माँ ने ये बोला, उसको कैसे पसंद होगा. So I said तुम you be out of it, I'll झेलो it and
Okay.
I'll find my own way.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much.
I never complained. So I found my own way. I could reason it out. And I had a very peaceful, very loving relationship with her.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rai. We can't close the soap operas because that soap opera has given one union minister to us because from that opera only. So we have to continue that. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Ms. Varsha. Ms. Varsha, even the children today, they complain that the grandparents pamper their child. The grandchildren, they always complain. They says you आप बिगाड़ रहे हो हमारे बच्चों को, and that's why the grandparents sometimes feel hurt in the joint family. कि what they have done, they wanted to teach them something, or if the parents are strict, they just want to console or take them that no don't fire them or don't beat them or don't be angry on them. But so the concept of joint family again, because as everybody says, the new generation and this and that, when the children are not interested, that their children should be tackled by the grandparents. Where's the question of joint family?
Mr. Goyal, as I said, it is for the parents and in-laws to be on a common page on certain topics. Okay, by nature, grandparents would always pamper their children. But one has to draw a line. When it comes to disciplining, they have to be, the parents and the grandparents should be on the similar page. Because today's children are very smart. They know how to get their work done, how to get what they want. So there shouldn't be difference of opinion discussed in front of children. That has to be done later on when children are not there at home at that time. And I think it is very important for children to have the love of their grandparents because they have the time, they have the experience to do it. We may be busy with our jobs and other pressures running a home. So I think they should be also given a free way and not interfered with. And even if there are some issues which you don't like, that can be discussed later on, not in front of a child who will take advantage of the situation to suit his advantage. So
Okay.
one can strike a balance.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Varsha Goswani, for giving your views. Now, my question goes to Mr. Agrawal. Mr. Agrawal, you were saying that it all depends how the parents want the child once they are going after 50 years. Today, we are discussing joint family versus nuclear family. People will start talking about, forget the joint family, it will be nuclear family versus the spinsters or the bachelors. And people today started talking or saying, when our Honorable Prime Minister, when Rahul Gandhi, when Mamata Banerjee, Mayawati, Ratan Tata, Lata Mangeshkar, they are very successful. Why we should go for a family even? Forget joint or nuclear family. What you say about that?
Correct, sir. Anything and everything is possible in the world, definitely. But but we cannot beat the rules of nature. The rules of nature will still stay. We all are social animals. We will continue to be social animals. The society will transform, cultures will transform, mentality, technology will transform. We all remain we will all remain as social animals. I cannot answer a direct answer. Sorry, I don't have a direct answer to your question because I cannot see the future right away. But as I said, I still believe we would be still discussing the same joint family and nuclear family thing even in year 2050 or even 2070 if we all live by then. I just want to make one point. I recollect a few years back when I and Dr. Anand were in the same conference. I remember asking him, okay, sir, why can't will you see a transformation of culture, say even within Indian society, where instead of counseling happening after the marriage, we see a counseling happening before the marriage. And it's not about counseling between the husband and wife. It's actually counseling between two families. And that has never been a part of our culture. More so because everybody feels that if you are becoming an in-law, you are already knowing everything. And if you are becoming a if you are becoming a daughter-in-law, son-in-law, you are supposed to come well educated about it. But the fact of the matter is that there's a serious lack of education amongst all the members, and that is where difference of opinions and lack of understanding comes up. So I would really see a time coming up where we openly embrace more education about, and education is probably become more fundamental of still evolving the whole joint family system. Okay, personally, I would, even though I've spoken about technology, communications, and all, and now I will say you can put my vote to the system ranking. I would, as a person, I would be more supportive to a joint family system. It has, and not because of advantages, disadvantages, just the sheer pleasure of being with your own people is a pleasure which is undefinable, which cannot be expressed, which cannot be voted. But yes, when you are living with people, you have to, even if you're in a classroom, or even if you adjust in a classroom, or you are in an office, or you are working with colleagues, everywhere you adjust. So why not adjusting with the family, which according to me should be the most easiest than adjusting with outsiders.
Okay.
So probably education could be something which can more enlighten us to bring us more together rather than separating.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Agrawal. Oh, sorry, Mr. Agrawal, for giving your views. Yes, your views are very correct. We should have that. Earlier, there used to be said that instead of making that गुड़ मिलाते थे नए उनके बोले कि जो the horoscopes matching should be of the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, not the bride and bridegroom. Thank you very much, Mr. Agrawal. Now my question goes to Dr. Pawar. Dr. Pawar, people are saying that the India is suffering with the COVID too much because of the joint family concept, because the situation is if one person become positive, he or she is giving the entire family, because they all are staying in joint family, so entire family becoming COVID positive. That's the number of the positive cases in India is far more now every day than anywhere in the world. Do you agree with this?
Yes, I agree with this. And especially in the lower category families, joint families, the prevalence is more. And daily, like, the cases which I am seeing on the social media, YouTube, we see a lot of patients, like, they are coming from Chawls and Jhopapatti side. And even in the affluent families also, if you see the actresses and their families together, nowadays, you see collectively a lot of families are getting affected of COVID. I feel like comparatively, if there are 2 or 3 people in the house, there are rooms to get isolated for quarantine. So it makes more easy. and more accessible. Because what happens when you stay in a joint family, our grandparents are like old and we are young, so our immunity system is always different. So that's why the old parents, they sometimes get affected, have lung fibrosis, lung diseases, and then ultimately die. So then we should not have that kind of inside feeling that because of us that we others are affected.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Pawar, for giving your views. So, viewers, you have seen today, although this debate, as Mr. Agrawal has mentioned, yes, we are doing. I have done this same topic in somewhere in February, and I remember that at that time also the same problem came, that nobody was clear, joint or nuclear. And today the same. Now the balance, the point wise, the tally is same. Both are. But the question is advantages. Advantages are where your hearts, as our one of the panelists says, if your heart is close, whether you are staying alone, nuclear family or joint family, it makes a difference. But if you are not having closeness in your heart, even if you are staying in a joint family, then it's a worse scenario. So basically, wherever you are staying, please be close to your near and dear and your relatives. As Dr. Anand has said very clearly, they are your real assets. If you will not care for them, who is going to care for you? Thank you very much, all the panelists, for joining us today. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarocar News, as well. It was shown live on YouTube and Facebook. And our endeavor is to bring to you everyday new topic. And tomorrow our topic of media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. is role of youth in peer mentorship. And our chief guest is Mr. Sarvesh Kaushal, IAS, former Chief Secretary of Government of Punjab, along with 7 youth who will be discussing and joining with him about the role of youth in peer mentorship. One good news I would like to give, with the blessings and the good wishes of all the viewers, from tomorrow, we are starting a new program in the evening from 4:30 to 5 p.m. and that is in Hindi, because I got so much pressure from many parts of India, ki why only in English? We must do a program in Hindi, but that program format will be different and that will be only for half an hour. The program will be called Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goyal Ke Sang, in which we will be unearthing the autobiography, you can say, or the life of a person, and we will see what yesterday, today, and tomorrow, what he or she has done in her life from the childhood. So that is the format of the program. And tomorrow, our first guest in that is His Holiness Dr. Charukirti Bhattacharya Panditacharya Varya Swami Ji of Jain Mutt, Moorbidri will be my chief guest. I am going to discuss, unse मैं बातें करूंगा कल, आज और कल लाल गोयल के संग में at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, and that will be again a live telecast, and it will be presented by Global TV. So thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you very much, Ms. Amla Rai. Thank you very much, Ms. Varsha Goswami. Thank you very much, Mr. Soumitra Agrawal. And thank you very much, Dr. Nikita Pawar, for giving your very, very strong views, all of you. And thank you all the viewers. I'm sure today's program has enlightened all of us. And one thing is very common. Please love your near and dear, all relatives, as much as you can. You don't know life, what is happening today. Only your near and dear and your relatives are going to be there. Thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much. Thank you.